Hey, you're not really arresting me.
You have the right to remain silent.
I choose to waive that right.
Hey guys, my name is Bando, this is Brexit Bando, and we've got the Sunday preview up. I'm going to go through a couple of these. So we've got the Sunday preview, Knights, Vampires and Classic Warhammer 40,000 Terrain. It's a big week for Warhammer with a ton of new stuff coming to next week's pre-orders, so let's sink our teeth into it without preamble. Well, let's start with this. It's a big week for Warhammer. This is a pun, because it's not true. Because frankly, this release is actually kind of weak. It's big because we've got two more knights. The Cerastus Knight Archon, and the Cerastus Knights Castigator. Great, brilliant, I'll be honest, all three of them should have been released at the same time. Dragging it out was a bit silly. What's really annoying me is that I want to use parts from all of them to make one knight. Cool, they're finally coming, that's great. It's going to be interesting to see how they get these ammo belts to work. I feel like it's just going to be dozens of small pieces, which is going to be hell to work with. Sorry, I'm really tired today. Yeah, if I've got to clean mould lines up off of every single one of these, it's going to be such a pain to do. You know what I think about these guys. They're the exact same models from Forge World. They've got some good posability. Brilliant. Okay, fine. Glad to see them coming out. It still blows my mind that I'm still hung up on the fact that there is a model that fits into the gap between his legs that only costs £30 less than this model. How mad is that, the pricing of those new Tyranids? Made to order Warhammer 40,000 Terrain. Cool. Yeah, these have all been relatively solid kits. They're not great, they're not terrible. I remember a time when Games Workshop used to just show you how to make stuff like this out of cereal boxes. If you're after it, order it. If it's not something that you really care about, don't lose any sleep over it. In reality, you can find proxies for every single one of these online for considerably cheaper. There are also the hero bases. Oh, why am I so tired all of a sudden? I mean, fine, I've not been yawning until literally right now. The hero bases are kind of okay. The quality's not great on the sculpts. They were one of the earlier terrain kits that Games Workshop did. Oh, he's so fucking unprofessional. What's going on? The large detailing kit for the Sector Imperialis is okay as well. Goes well with the Sector Imperialis bases. I'll tell you what, it's things like these, the light lampposts. Give me a box with 15 of those in it. You know, I don't need this sort of stuff. Give me the old Forge World etched brass, that sort of stuff. They were much better for that kind of kit. The Drak Fang Thirsters for Blood Bowl. I love all of these models. I think these would be great for D&D. I also think this really camp-looking guy will be cool for Warhammer Fantasy, the old world. Both of these two would be really good for the Fantasy when it comes out, for making Vampire Count models. Not a fan of the Vargheist, sorry. I think this is just a poor model. The detail's too chunky, the painting's not great. It reminds me of the kind of 6th edition sculpting style they used. Just a bit poor, not really doing it for me. Luther von Drachenborg, great model, really good, especially for something like D&D or whatever. Would be really cool. Good sculpt, cloak's a little, or cape collar is a bit thick, but it's racing what you expect. Oh god, Captain Karina von Rice. I really apologise, I haven't been yawning like this. And I don't know why it's come over me. Captain Karina von Rice, I don't like it. I know they're like, oh, it's got a great hat. The hat is ridiculous, the hat is stupid. Purple and green mix of black and red. Sorry, all of you failed colour theory. Yeah, no, not a fan. Weak model. Ivan the Animal Death Shroud. I think a lot of Night Lords players are going to be sweating this one. I'm not going to lie, taking that, mounting, somehow like merging that with a Marine helmet. Maybe getting the old lower part of a Mark III helmet under here. Yeah, I just want the head, thanks. The rest of the model, okay. Detail's getting a bit silly, but it is what it is. Vampire Pitch for Blood Bowl's cool. The Fellowship of the Ring Battle in Balin's Tomb. The popular board game returns. Depending on price, this could be a pretty good pickup. If you've got younger kids who are looking at getting into wargaming, or you want to get them into wargaming, and they like the Lord of the Rings movie, this is a pretty cool set for doing stuff like that with. You get sort of a dozen goblins, a troll, and then obviously the Fellowship. It's also good because they're just good models to paint. The Lord of the Rings game is definitely a game that gets slept on a lot. I might pick this up depending on price. If this is closer to 25 quid, 30 quid, than it is 50, then it's probably worth picking it up. Books, and all that jazz. Pretty weak, if I'm going to be brutally honest. This one, however, the Saturday pre-orders, I have to go through this as well. I really like this model. This is a really cool model. I like painting big models. This box set's not bad for painting big models. I wouldn't buy it. I probably won't ever buy this model on his own, because I know the price is going to be too high for what it is. I'd love to paint it, so if I got it as a present, I'd be really happy. But I can't go out of my way and buying it. But I do love painting bigger models. The Rabble Rouser for the Night Goblins. I know they're not called Night Goblins. I'm going to always call them Night Goblins. I love that they've expanded the Night Goblins so much through Age of Sigmar. I think aesthetically they've done really, really well. These details are pretty cool. I'm not a fan of the flying squigs. I think the detail on those are pretty poor. But the rest of them is really good. This like giant mouth, this squig skull or whatever it is pretty cool. Hopefully it's separate and he can be assembled without it. Oh, apparently it's a re-release. Okay. The Vanguard Auric Warclans. This is again just a re-release of what was in the starter set. I thought this was already available. Probably is. It's probably just a rebox. I'm not a fan of these orcs. I don't like the style. I don't think they've added anything particularly. I can't knock the skill of the sculptors for these. They are good. It's very 1980s dark fantasy. It's very kind of like Terry Gilliam kind of fantasy. And I do like the big classic red orc war faces. Like, those are cool. Those are definitely a throwback to like the 90s. And I think they work really well for like, they could be used for like White Scars. I think like a Sega Mazan army with this sort of stuff would look really cool. Zogrok Anvil Smasher. Swing and a miss. The bits I like, his face. I like the bolted on jaw. The detail of the face is really cool. That's about it. The heat stuff on the weapon, I see what they're going for. I just don't think it looks great. You wouldn't ever want to take that into combat. Hot metal is soft metal. I know that it's this whole like, hey, you know, it's straight out of the forge, it's still hot, it'll burn you. It's not how it works, and it's just a bit dumb. This squig is also very 90s. It's very much something that looks like it would have come probably from 40k. The Tusk Bosk on More Grunter. I'm going to throw it out there. I hate Games Workshop's naming stuff nowadays. I know why they do it. We all know why they do it. They just suck at it. It's like they're using AI and like it picks 3 words and then throws them together, and it's just dumb. It's Age of Sigmar especially is so rife with it that they can't seem to get the actual aesthetic and style and storyline to have its own thing. It all just feels AI generated. That being said, this model is phenomenal. This is such a cool sculpt and looks like something you would have picked up from an expensive Spanish or French sculpting studio back in the 90s. This has got like Rackham written all over it, and would have been, you know, 80 pounds in weight of white metal. I love it. I don't like the guys on the side, what they call hacking crew, but they can be left off for making it into a different model. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant model. I really like it. This guy's not bad. He's just a bit too generic. Hopefully he's got options. The chainmail is terrible, and I'm not a big fan of the mask. These guys, our boys, look great. All the posing is like big and imposing and ominous. This guy especially. I'd love to see a Terminator. You know, can you imagine like a really big Leviathan-sized Terminator? He's got a great big shield. He's got like some sort of spear, and he's just stomping towards you, or like around you, circling around you. That's cool. I really like all of these. I don't like the yellow colour scheme. I might pick some of these guys up to, you know, to work with. They could be cool to work with. On the flip side, the Weird Brute Wreckers I don't like. This idea of berserkers wearing no armour has never been something I really liked as a sort of trope. The only one I think it ever works for is the Dwarf Slayers, and that's because they are actively trying to get themselves killed, and they're just too good at their job. Don't like these. Love the pose on this guy, but yeah, just a swing and a miss. Never buy dice, never buy cards. Other than that, yeah. So that's the weekend's previews for you. There's some okay stuff. There's some pretty weak stuff. It's not the best we've ever had. It's far from it, if I'm going to be honest. Glad to see that there's lots of backlash from people who don't like this. I don't know. It just seems a bit weak. I was quite surprised we didn't see the Mark III box set. But I suppose we've got to have 2 more previews, effectively, before they announce that. So that's probably going to be 23rd of September, I think, is when that will come out. It's either going to come out right before or right... No, it'll come out right before the price hike that was rumoured. And then the independent boxes will come out after the price hike. That's how Games Workshop works. So, my name is Bando. This is Breakfast of Bando. Those are Vampire Tiddies. Have a nice weekend, or what's left of it. Have fun at work this week. Do your best. Improve yourself. Call your mum and tell her you love her. Peace out.